He cornered them with their own data. While others danced around vague threats, one senator exposed the lack of readiness, the missed timelines, and the dangerous delays in space dominance. You're about to watch a calm but cutting interrogation that reveals just how fragile our national defense planning really is.
Senator Capito, Senator Murphy, and then Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Secretary Hegseth, and thank you, General, and thank all of the men and women every day that serve us and protect us. We're extremely grateful. Secretary Hegseth, you and your team are working on a national defense strategy. I'd be interested to know when you think you'll be coming forward with that. We know that the last year the Commission on the National Defense Strategy found that, quote, there's a high probability that the next war will be fought across multiple theaters and would involve multiple adversaries. How are you thinking about these interconnected threats, and how will your national defense strategy establish a new force to meet those challenges? And when do you think that report will come forward?
Senator, it's the right question. It drives almost all of our decision-making, certainly on a topic related to budget. We did an interim national defense strategy almost immediately upon arriving because with a new administration, our planning guidance was from the previous administration that we think had the wrong priorities or some of the wrong priorities, and by issuing that interim national defense strategy, it allowed our building to plan around the priorities of President Trump. So that was, and that interim national defense strategy focused on defending the homeland, a recognition that that is important, our pacing threat in the Indo-Pacific, and then burden sharing for our allies and partners, making sure that they're stepping up so that we can focus where we need to. I would anticipate that our national defense strategy will include a lot of those ingredients, but more fully developed. I would expect late summer.
Okay.
Is if I were to put a pin on it. But that interim strategy has driven why we're investing, where we're investing, and I think driven a lot of difficult decisions. There are things in this budget that we have to address that have been deferred for a long time, that we're willing to say that may have been a fight for the last 20 years, but it's not as applicable to the long-range fight we think we may need to be a part of in the future, or it's not survivable given what we've seen in the last 3 years in Ukraine and the way the battlefield is changing. That's what I would hope the American people would expect from their department, leaning on the military expertise of our uniformed class to try to get it right.
Thank you. We'll look forward to that report, and that leads me to my second question. And I'm interested in listening to all the questions that this hasn't been asked, and this is a question on space superiority. I mean, in my view, I think a powerful destabilizing force would be if China were to get the superior hand in space. General Saltzman has said that he feels that we do not have what we need to fight on our terms. So I would imagine in your national defense strategy, but also reflected in your budget, how does this match with the need for us to become space dominant?
I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment to point out that it was President Trump that created the Space Force, when a lot of people said he shouldn't in his first administration, and that's been critically important to us gaining advantages in that space, to include our ability to implement something like the Golden Dome. We also are able to leverage world-class private companies that come alongside DoD to help us with that capability. Obviously, how we rapidly field things is going to matter. And then you'll see, some of which is classified, obviously, ways in which we're investing in this budget to ensure we maintain dominance in space. That is the frontier. That is a COCOM, if you will, that we need to be able to understand fully and defend against and match our adversaries.
Well, it's interesting because I think there's a tremendous interplay between the military superiority that we could achieve in defensive capabilities in space, along with what's going to happen in the private sector. Because if we don't achieve this militarily or defensively, we're not going to be able to have the private sector superiority that we all enjoy in every facets of our life. So, last question, you mentioned, and I'm very proud of this fact, that the recruiting goals that we've seen them falling short, with the exception of the Marine Corps. I want to give them a shout out because they were meeting their goals. You said that they are higher. So I assume you have some of the statistics as to how much the recruitment is up. I'm curious to know for women, if the recruitment up for women, and how you see that. Do you have the statistics?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was plenty of pre-criticism that certain groups would not be interested in joining the military in this environment, and we've seen the exact opposite. Because for us, it's not about women or men or black or white. It's about we want the most qualified Americans possible in our ranks who are ready to go, and they have responded. So
I'm
across
assuming
the
you
services, the Army's 4 months ahead. The Air Force is way ahead. The Navy's way ahead. And we're going to meet goals well beyond the goals that were reduced by the previous administration because they could not recruit. So we're talking about far surpassing anything that was done before.
Is there one prevailing thought when you're doing your after recruiting, talking to a recruit that's signing up? What's the difference?
The difference is a commander-in-chief they believe in, Senator.
Thank you.
What you just witnessed was a subtle but explosive dismantling of the illusions surrounding our national defense readiness, an interrogation that didn't need raised voices or dramatic accusations to shake the foundation of what America is being told about its own security. It started as a routine hearing, but with each question, the senator peeled back another layer of polished rhetoric, revealing the disturbing gaps between what we're promised and what's actually being delivered. We heard a lot about an interim strategy still acting as the guiding compass for national defense planning, and the uncomfortable truth is this: the most powerful military in the world is operating on a placeholder document while the threats it faces are rapidly evolving, multiplying, and aligning. That's not just bureaucratic lag, it's a crisis of vision. This isn't some abstract academic delay. The senator pointed to the Defense Commission's warning. The next war will be fought across multiple theaters with multiple adversaries. That's not future talk. It's current threat assessment. And yet here we are, still anticipating a fully formed strategy while near-peer adversaries like China are launching satellites, building hypersonic arsenals, and hardening their cyber defenses. Then came the sharp pivot to space dominance, a domain that determines not just national security, but the economic stability of every American who relies on GPS, communication satellites, and global data infrastructure. The senator didn't tiptoe around it. He called it what it is: the final frontier, a theater of war where falling behind would be catastrophic. And while the secretary credited the formation of the Space Force under the previous administration, the details that followed made it clear we are nowhere near prepared. The budget mentions classified investments, but there was no assurance, no roadmap, no demonstration that we are winning this race. Just vague optimism and hope that private companies will help fill the void. Hope is not a strategy. The reality is we are entering a new era of warfare, and our policies are still trying to catch up with the last one. Meanwhile, our enemies are not waiting for a summer release date on our national defense playbook. They are acting now. They are planning now. They are executing now. The senator exposed that with grace, precision, and calm confrontation, and that's what made it so powerful. It wasn't a political rant. It was a factual cross-examination of leadership's ability to lead. And it didn't stop there. The senator drilled into recruitment, often dismissed as a culture war flashpoint, but here, it was tied to something much deeper: belief. The secretary claimed recruitment is up, particularly among women and minorities. And while that may seem like a win, the reason behind it was telling. People are signing up because they believe in their commander-in-chief. Think about that. Not the mission, not the pay, not the benefits, but the person in charge. That's not just recruitment data. That's a referendum on trust in leadership. And it raises an uncomfortable truth. When trust in leadership becomes the #1 factor for enlistment, what happens when that trust is broken? What happens when that leader leaves office? Are we building a military of citizens who believe in the Constitution or personalities? That question was left hanging, and it needs an answer. The deeper issue behind all of this is systemic. American institutions, especially defense institutions, have become more about protecting themselves than protecting the people they claim to serve. They operate behind layers of classified reports, delayed strategies, and vague promises while foreign adversaries build empires in real time. They promote loyalty to the system rather than accountability to the people. That's the crisis the senator illuminated. A defense system that talks about transparency while operating in shadows, that praises service but dodges responsibility, that promotes diversity as a shield against criticism instead of as a core strength. And let's be clear, this wasn't just about a hearing room. This was about every American who deserves to know. Are we safe? Are we prepared? Are we being led by people who plan for the future or merely react to headlines? The performance today gave us glimpses of both, but mostly it gave us more questions than answers. And in a world this dangerous, that's not good enough. We don't need press releases. We need plans. We don't need classified hope. We need public confidence. And we don't need cheerleading. We need truth. Space dominance is not optional. It is not a pet project. It is not a partisan trophy. It is survival. The country that controls space controls the world's infrastructure, military, financial, technological. And while our leaders speak in timelines and budget summaries, our enemies are designing futures without us in them. So what happens next? Do we continue to accept interim documents and vague updates? Or do we demand a clear, comprehensive, executable national defense strategy today? Not in the summer, not next quarter, but now. Do we allow agencies to coast on classified initiatives? Or do we ask for transparent benchmarks that the public can evaluate and hold accountable? Do we let recruitment be our only victory metric? Or do we ask why these Americans are joining and whether they'll be equipped, trained, and led by the kind of visionaries who can win tomorrow's wars? These are not theoretical questions. These are the defining questions of our time. And unless we start answering them with urgency, we risk learning, too late, that our dominance was only ever an illusion. Institutions will always protect themselves, but we, the people, must protect the truth. We must ask the hard questions. We must stay loud, because no one, not a secretary, not a senator, not a general, is above the Constitution or the people it was written to defend. So if you care about the safety of this country, if you care about the future of American strength, if you believe in demanding more from those in power, then share this video. Subscribe, stay engaged, and never, ever stay silent.